Hi, everybody. It's Jessica Stone at Stansberry Research, along with Brian Tycangco, the analyst for True Wealth Opportunities in China. And we reached him in Manila, Philippines, with a conversation that's really emerging out of the way that coronavirus is being thought around the world. One of the key pieces of the success in China was contact tracing, which in large part, if I just reached to my cell, is using the cell phone, the basic cell phone, to find people and find people they've interacted with and find out who else would be at risk. So it's a really interesting problem that's emerging because Western economies are now trying to figure out, is that something that our population would be okay with? So there's an inherent conflict. I call it a battle brewing, and I think you agree, Brian. I'm curious what you can tell us about how different countries are navigating it. There are certainly different regulatory bodies, for example, that oversee privacy rights.
Okay, so in the US, we all know about the FTC, and the FTC has often stepped in with regards to certain privacy issues like the Cambridge Analytica scandal with Facebook. But in China, there's actually nobody similar to the FTC. And for now, I think it's going to be the status quo. A lot of this has to do with the way people view data privacy in these two countries, wherein data privacy and privacy itself is a very important thing for most Americans. A lot of Chinese, or most Chinese, actually view this more pragmatically. As long as it benefits the greater good, as long as it doesn't take away more from me than it gives back to me in terms of convenience, then I'm totally fine with it. And this is backed up by certain surveys that say about 60 to 70% of Chinese are actually totally fine with the surveillance, and up to 80% of Chinese are totally fine with their data being used for tracking them in certain situations, just like they have been for the coronavirus pandemic containment efforts.
Yeah, I mean, you would never see that in the United States. Remember the uproar over the NSA and all of the spying that's taken place on American citizens, as
Yeah.
well as foreign citizens. So you talked a little bit about how culture makes a difference. And I just have to add this anecdote. I have a Chinese friend who told me, when I order a Starbucks coffee, it comes to me hot to my apartment complex with the temperature of the barista on it and his health status. I mean, you just can't imagine seeing something like that in a Western economy. It's a violation of health privacy laws. It would just never be expected. And yet it's giving him the sense of stability and safety to drink that drink and give that company the ability to sell him that drink. So that makes me wonder how companies are navigating this, because clearly Starbucks has figured out in China that it needs to provide that extra information to the consumer.
The whole world is looking to China and seeing, okay, what are they doing that's right? And what are they doing that's wrong? We can learn from this and we can adapt it to our country, and we can actually get our economies going again. For example, you have a city that's no longer in lockdown and you go out now, but then because of China's containment efforts, they want you to maintain social distancing. They actually require you to scan a QR code, let's say if you get on a subway or get on a bus, so that they know that where you've been, in case somebody in that network tested positive again, they could actually notify you so that you could self-isolate and head off another flare-up of the coronavirus right there and then. So this is the way technology is being used in China now, and most people are actually okay with it because they've seen the benefits of this. They've seen how it can actually be used as a positive, not just to halt the spread of coronavirus, but also to get the economy back up.
What are you seeing in other economies, even in Southeast Asia? Are they as welcoming of the benefits that that technology brings, even though it has a cost to personal privacy?
Singapore, for instance, uses this to great extent. Even Taiwan has been very successful in containing the coronavirus because of their contact tracing methods, because of their use of data and sharing of data, and the willingness of people there to actually share data to be able to contain this epidemic.
Are there implications for investors? I mean, are they looking for a company, for example, that can navigate those differences, or are there going to be companies that are going to be more successful that are in this space in some countries as opposed to others because of how they're structured and how they approach these problems?
The major tech companies are going to use data to adapt to the new environment, how new technologies are going to be coming up. If you're an investor, you want to look at China right now because this is where all these new technologies are being are advancing the fastest. yes, there's going to be certain mistakes that are going to be made along the way. But if you're looking for growth, that's where you go to. But then later on, I think the rest of the world is going to catch up because they realize the huge benefits of technology when it comes to these industries. So yeah, I mean, as an investor, you want to be looking at China right now. Companies like Alibaba, Tencent, they are in the thick of this. China technology is going to hit the world stage, and it's going to hit the world stage in a positive light because they're going to be coming up with very practical solutions to working around one of the biggest crises the world has ever faced in the past 100 years.
All right, Brian Tycangco, thanks so much for joining us on our socially distanced interview here about the implications of coronavirus contact tracing on data privacy. And if you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's all for now. Thanks again, Brian. Take care. Bye-bye.